Hey there, I'm Maddie Gardner here with meteorologist Jason Myers in the first in the WBTV News Now desk because it is a first alert night. It is a busy night for you. What is the latest with the winter storm?
Well, right now the biggest event looks to happen in the Charlotte metro area with ice, and that will really start to develop as we go overnight tonight into the earlier part of our day on Sunday, kind of continuing throughout the day on Sunday. So freezing rain looks to be a big issue, may have some sleet at times, and may even end with some snow as we go Sunday evening into Sunday night. I think for the mountains, snow looks to be the big issue there, and that will cause some big travel delays. Could see, at least with some of the higher elevations, over a foot of snow. So we're talking about a lot of snow.
So everyone in the Carolinas should be prepared tonight.
That's right. We're under a winter storm warning tonight through Sunday night, early Monday morning.
Okay, I want to bring in meteorologist Alicia Wilson. She is standing by for us here in the First Alert Weather Center. And Alicia, you are going to break down this forecast for us. What are you looking at right at this moment? We have the winter weather impacts pulled up. What are you seeing right now on the maps?
Kind of interrupt our daily routine, so get ready for that. This particular product comes from the National Weather Service, so we're able to put this into map form for you and show it to you on our system. So, of course, we're looking at winter weather impacts. So this is talking about how the ice, how the snow is going to impact you, and you can see highlighted across the Charlotte metro area, it's in red. So you're expecting major impacts. So that's going to mean that that's going to be disruptions in your travel, possibly disruptions in your power supply, so power outages. And as you expand farther out from that, moderate impact. So that means that you'll look at scattered power outages. So that's something to keep in mind as we go throughout the next 24 to 36 hours. Now, currently, we're still kind of in preparation mode, and we're watching the system out to our west. As Jason said earlier, winter storm warning in effect for most of us, actually all of the counties that you see shaded there in the pink farther south. As you get closer to Lancaster and Sherrod, that's where an ice storm warning is in effect. That's where they're going to see less in the way of snowfall and more in the accumulation of ice. So that's what we're looking at there. And then, of course, farther towards the east where it's going to be a little bit warmer, a winter weather advisory. So all of that just means where you see the pink shading, conditions are going to be a little bit worse. And farther east out of our area, that's where they're still going to be dealing with deteriorating conditions, but it won't be as bad, so to speak. But it's just going to be a disruption for everyone. Let's check out our current conditions right now. We've got some upper 30s and lower 40s. So 41 in Charlotte, well above freezing. We still have time to maybe go to the grocery store and grab a couple of things if you need to do that, or just check on those friends and family and make sure that they have everything that they need in case they're not able to head out to the store or just grab a few things. Here's a look at future forecast temperatures. I want to actually start this over for you, but you can see there how it quickly drops down into the upper 20s and lower 30s, especially once you get into Morganton and Hickory, 28 degrees by 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. So that means any precipitation that's falling, whether it's snow or rain, or it's going to freeze. So anything that lands on the concrete, on the pavement, especially those bridges and overpasses first, it's going to be freezing. So that's something to keep in mind. Don't delay your preparation. But as I said before, we go back real quick, we're good right now. Temperatures in the upper 30s and lower 40s, with the exception, of course, being into the mountains. Once you get into Boone, they're already sub-freezing at 29 degrees. So we'll take you back there to the forecast temperatures or future forecast temperatures. You can see how temperatures quickly start to fall early Sunday morning. So where's the current location of this storm system? It's actually the surface low, or the area of low pressure, is right over Arkansas at the moment. You get all the way back into places like Fort Smith, Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas, and Fayetteville. They're getting some snow showers there. That's pushing all the way into Little Rock. It's still in the form of rain, or the liquid form right now. Once you get into Memphis, and some heavy rain starting to push into Nashville. Those arrows there, that kind of shows you the track that we're expecting this storm to take as we get into Sunday. And just to give you a closer look at what's happening right now, if you stepped outside, you probably noticed a couple of flakes falling from the sky earlier today up in the mountains. So right now, all is quiet, so to speak, and we're looking pretty good, at least for the next couple of hours here. It's going to be later on tonight as you're winding down your evening, maybe after you watch the football game. We'll start to see conditions start to take a turn, I should say downhill. That's what we've been talking about all week. So here we go. 3 a.m., that's when we're expecting that wintry mix to start to make its way into Mecklenburg County and just push farther north as you get into early Sunday morning. So after sunrise, here we are at 8 a.m., you're getting snow in the mountains, Watauga County, Avery County, Ashe County, even farther south into Morganton. You're still getting pretty moderate to heavy snow at times there. Where you see that pink shading, that's going to be the wintry mix. Snow, sleet, freezing rain, and possibly even some rain mixing in at times. But if you remember that previous map, it already showed how those temperatures are going to be at or below the freezing mark. Now, real important, here we are at noon. So between noon and 1 o'clock, the atmosphere is still going to be warming, so to speak, or climbing above that critical 32-degree mark, especially at the surface. And that's when we start to see a bit of a more mixing in of some rainfall, but still we could see that freezing. So that's where that freezing rain comes in, or the icing conditions. Now, as we get on the back edge of the system, remember some cold air is going to be dragged down out of the northwest. So we're looking at going from initially a bit of snow and a wintry mix over to all of a wintry mix for the Piedmont. In the mountains, mainly snow, and then changing back over to all snow between about 5 o'clock right on into Monday morning. You can see how everyone has started to see that purple shading or that lavender shading showing up, and you're still getting snow in the mountains, even on late Sunday night going into early Monday morning. So that's kind of how that's all going to be panning out for us as we get through this storm system, or this winter storm warning that we're in right now. So here's the thinking right now. Mountains, foothills, that's where you're going to see the most snowfall. Farther south and east, once you get into the Charlotte metro area, you're going to see anywhere from a trace to about 2 inches. It's just going to depend on how much that freezing rain or that sleet cuts into your snowfall totals. But I really wouldn't focus on that. I would focus more on the ice accumulation, and that's something that I'm really concerned about, because ice pretty much shuts everything down. So 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 of an inch of ice possible, potentially even more. It's just going to depend on how much that air mass that's above 32 degrees starts to work its way into our area. And you can see for the mountains and the foothills, lesser amounts of ice accumulation. Of course, if you want to play in snow, those are the locations you want to be in. The mountains, the foothills, they're to see the most snow. Now, another facet to the forecast, of course, will be the gusty winds. Since the reason you saw the winter weather impact being on the major and the moderate side. Tonight, no wind worries, but as we go throughout the day tomorrow, when you start talking about getting gusts, 25, 35 miles per hour, that could potentially bring down power lines or tree limbs or branches that are on the verge of already falling. So that could be a situation there. And even if you have underground utilities, depending on where the source for that is, that could always be a problem as well when it comes to these winds. So that's going to be with us for just about, I'd say, half of the day, or so at least after sunset. You can see at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, we're still getting gusts over 30 miles per hour in most spots. And if you look down at the bottom right-hand side of your screen, Wadesboro, Chesterfield, 41 mile per hour wind gusts. So that's going to be a bit troublesome for us as well. So here's what to expect, just to kind of wrap it up for you or summarize it. Snow changing over to a wintry mix of snow, sleet, freezing rain, and possibly even some rain at times. And then as we head towards the end of this event, we're looking at it changing back over to all snow. Of course, some gusty winds and poor visibility, as that wintry precipitation is going to be coming down heavily at times. And, of course, all of that could lead to potential power outages and definitely dangerous travel on the roadways. And even if you're, out on the sidewalk walking, if you don't have anything out there to give you any traction, that could be a big problem as well. Low temperatures tonight, or forecasted low temperatures, we expect it to fall down into the upper 20s, to low 30s out there, even some teens and low 20s in the mountains. High temperatures tomorrow expected to hover right around the freezing mark or into the mid-30s. And you got to remember that these are going to occur different times of the day, depending on where you are. If you're in the mountains, you'll hit your high temperatures early on, then temperatures will fall again. They're going to kind of fluctuate, but all in all, this is just from midnight to midnight, the highest temperature that you'll hit before it starts to get chilly again. So keep that in mind. That's just kind of just a forecasting thing there. All right, 7-day forecast. We start to see all of this wrapping up early Monday morning, just in time for the Martin Luther King Jr. Day holiday, and temperatures actually warm up in the afternoon for the Piedmont area into the upper 30s and lower 40s. For the mountains, you're going to struggle to get above the freezing mark. So keep that in mind if you have any travel plans on Monday. And Tuesday, we're back to sunshine and mid to upper 40s. It's still going to be some cold nights and cool afternoons. And look there, I'm kind of skipping ahead here to the end of next week, but you see a little bit of a wintry mix for next Friday. So we could be setting up a pattern here of getting into it is winter, and we could see the potential for more of this, but we're just going to focus on this event right now. And Maddie, I don't know if we have any questions or not, but what do we have?
Alicia, a lot of people are saying they want to build a snowman. They want 8 to 10 inches of snow here in Charlotte, and I don't know if, you can tell them that that's not going to happen. I don't have the heart to tell them because it seems like you are forecasting mostly ice for the metro area.
Yeah, again, I would say if you really want to be able to play in snow and do the whole thing of build a snowman and put the carrot in the nose and the scarf and all that good stuff, mountains, foothills, I mean, don't get me wrong, we could see some measurable amounts of snowfall across the Charlotte area, but it's just not going to be as much. And then you could get some snow, but then it kind of gets taken away a bit by the rain, the freezing rain, and the sleet. So, we're going to be bouncing back and forth between all these different precipitation types across the Charlotte metro area and the South Carolina Piedmont. So that's why I would, focus so much on snow in this area, but more so into the mountains and the foothills.
Yes, and for those folks in the mountains, we are going to check in with our Ron Lee here in a bit, who's up in Boone, where they will likely see more snow than we will here in Charlotte. But, when you're forecasting ice and things like that, that's when it really gets dangerous. And you mentioned this because if it gets on power lines, it brings trees down onto power lines. The roads are obviously slick. No one can drive in ice. You might be able to drive in snow if you're used to that, but the ice is no joke. So that's what we are really keeping a close eye on.
Absolutely. Ice is a major concern, whether you're driving, of course, or even if you're outside walking the dog. You could slip and fall and hurt yourself or hit your head. So you just want to be very careful and just be mindful. We don't get these events very often. And even when you do, I mean, folks up north, there's so many accidents of people having to go to the emergency room because they slipped and, fell because of ice. So definitely want to keep that in mind and just make sure you stay safe. And just be prepared for this winter weather. Of course, maybe just break out the board games and the books as the power goes out. But, we're fine right now. I know a lot of people are just going to kick back and watch it all unfold.
Yeah, well, we are going to let you get back to work. We're going to check in with you a little bit closer tonight. If you are watching us on Facebook right now, feel free to ask some questions. We'll try to answer as many as we can. We really want to prepare you for the storm ahead. Alicia, thank you so much for checking in with us.
You're welcome.
All right, so we are going to turn now and check in with Al Conklin, see what he is working on here, where our entire weather team has been focused on this storm. And while we reset, I'm going to bring up some of our reporters for us.
A first alert has been declared by our team of meteorologists for this weekend storm. Looks like all but the mountains are probably going to have to deal with sleet and freezing rain. Conditions will vary depending on where you live.
Be where you plan to be through Sunday with supplies.
And if you do have to leave your home this weekend, you'll want to be prepared.
Before the storm hits, download the free WBTV News and First Alert weather apps. Please be safe and stay aware. WBTV is on your side.
Okay, I want to bring in Brandon Hamilton now, one of our reporters who has been out and about in Charlotte today. Brandon, we are getting your shot up here one moment, but you have been following people around who are trying to get prepared for this winter weather. What have you seen today? Where have you been?
The ice will be over.
Yeah, and stand by here, Brandon, because it seems like we're having some issues with your audio. I do want to play some sound that you got today from people out and about, and we're going to work on getting Brandon's audio back up and running. So we're going to check in with him in just one moment. It seems like we are unable to hear his mic, so we apologize for that. But Brandon was out and about today. He was saying he was finding people who were getting those last-minute supplies, and here's one of the shoppers, two of the shoppers actually, who he spoke to.
Getting some stuff for the grill, right? Some utensils. Figure we might be kind of snowed in, maybe like iced in, so it gives us an excuse to hang out with some friends.
I needed to get a new tarp and some bungee cords to put on the windshield that I wrap around my mirrors, so in case it's ice, I can take it off in the morning and I'll have a clean windshield.
So people were certainly making those last-minute preparations today. The governor of both North Carolina and South Carolina had press conferences to really prepare people, to warn them, to remind them to get ready. So first up, let's listen into what Governor Roy Cooper of North Carolina had to say earlier today about last-minute preparations. Remember, both states now under a state of emergency because of this winter storm.
If you hadn't already, now is the time to get prepared. Regardless of where you live, pay close attention to your local weather forecast to get prepared and to know whether it's too dangerous to go out. Plan to stay home tomorrow, Sunday. Today, make sure you have groceries, medications, and other essentials like water, batteries, and pet food that you'll need for the next few days. Our State Highway Patrol advises staying off the roads in most parts of the state on Sunday and Monday if you can. This will protect you and your family and help the road and utility crews do their work. Our emergency management team expects ice and wind to bring down some trees and power lines, and we're in contact with utility companies in advance of expected power outages. Duke Energy tells us they are bringing in extra crews from other parts of the country to help out. And remember to only use 911 for a true emergency. Power outages should be reported to your utility company.
And that was Governor Roy Cooper from the state of North Carolina talking about how to prepare for power outages, as well as you heard Alicia say we are expecting ice with this system, so power outages are likely. We're going to talk to Duke Energy a little bit later on. I want to check in now and see if we can hear our Brandon Hamilton out in the field. Brandon, if you can hear me there, let's see if I can hear your audio now. And it still seems like we are having some troubles. Brandon, I apologize. Thank you for trying to check in with us once again. We will continue to work on that. In the meantime, I mentioned that the South Carolina Governor, Henry McMaster, also held a press conference this afternoon to prepare South Carolinians for what's ahead. Here's what he had to say about the upcoming storm.
I would emphasize or re-emphasize, we know the power's going to go out in some places, and we know it's going to stay out. It could be for 2 or 3 days, so the linesmen can't get up there and fix things when the wind's blowing too much. And many of the roads could be down, could be closed, so if you're right in the area where the storm's going to hit the worst, you might be home for several days without power. Let's be safe, be careful, because it is coming.
It is coming indeed. Both governors mentioned power outages. I do want to direct you to WBTV.com. We have a power outage maps page that you can go to and get updates in real time. If you are looking to find that, you can go to WBTV.com/MyPower. Again, this is updated as we get those power outages in both North and South Carolina. So it is WBTV.com/MyPower. We have the numbers to all of the major energy providers and co-ops there as well, and directions on how to report a power outage. Duke Energy is expecting thousands of power outages with this storm. We caught up with a spokesperson earlier today to see how they're getting ready. They actually have crews from all across the Eastern Seaboard stationed right here in Charlotte at Charlotte Motor Speedway, getting ready to respond to any outages we may see because of this.
How many outages is Duke expecting for customers in the Carolinas and Mecklenburg specifically?
You know, we looked at the history of storms, and we're thinking we could have as many as 750,000 just by the storm and what's happened in history. But we hope it's less than that. We've got 10,000 people in the field ready to go. We've got about 500 people here, 250 trucks at Charlotte Motor Speedway, so we're going to get to it tomorrow.
Why is Duke choosing Charlotte Mecklenburg Speedway as their waited out for them?
You know, we have a few different ones across the state: Nashville, Raleigh, Greensboro. Charlotte Motor Speedway's been good to us over the years. It's open space. You can get on the highway quickly, can restore outages, and it's easy to find for these out-of-state crews who are coming from as far away as Texas.
How long after the storm can crews get to work?
You know, so the storm will be coming through Saturday night, Sunday morning. We'll put crews on the road right after that. And it may not be in Charlotte. It could be harder hit in Greensboro, Asheville. So we have one of our spots is here in the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We may be working right here, but these people can go to other locations as well.
All right. What should customers do if they lose power?
One thing customers can do is always call 1-800-POWER-ON. That's a great way, easy way to report an outage. One thing customers ought to be doing today is like what we're doing, preparing. Do you have batteries, flashlight, candles? Is your phone charged to 100%? Those are the things you can do right now because we don't know exactly how hard this storm will be or how hard it will be here in the Charlotte area.
How long could it take to get power restored?
You know, we've gotten better over the years with storms, but Mother Nature has a lot to do with it. We'll see how much ice we get versus how much snow. You know, it could be a multi-day event for some people, or some people it just may be a few hours. So we've got 10,000 people ready to respond. We got 4,000 people from other utilities in the Carolinas, so we're going to give it all we've got.
All right, last question. How is Duke prepared to handle this snow? Not just snow, but ice.
Yeah, ice is the real culprit here because it gets coats on trees, tree limbs are falling down, trees are falling down. If we just had a few inches of snow, a light fluffy snow, we probably wouldn't have many outages, but the ice is really what we worry about, and we seem to be right on that borderline of ice and snow.
Anything I'm missing, anything you want to add?
You know what, I think one thing customers can do if they see a power line down in their neighborhood, just assume that that power line's energized. It may not be, but it's better to be safe than sorry. We'll be there to get those power lines, but don't try to move one yourself.
It's good advice there. Again, if you are interested in the power outage map, seeing those outages in real time, WBTV.com/MyPower is the way to do that. So our Ron Lee is up in the mountains. He is in Boone, where they are expecting the snow to start falling here overnight. And he spoke to people today who are out at the grocery store getting those last minute supplies to hunker down and stay in for the weekend. Let's check in with Ron Lee now.
Well, the stores up here in the Boone area have been absolutely slammed with shoppers trying to get those hard-to-find items. And those hard-to-find items are turning into impossible-to-find items. But if you're up here and you're waiting till the last minute to go shopping, you're about there. Many of the staples disappeared off the store shelves quickly this afternoon. Milk, bread, and even beer were missing from many shopping carts of people who went in with high hopes. Most shoppers I talked to were calm yet concerned of what this snowstorm was barreling our way could do. Many people had to hit several stores to get exactly what they needed.
We had put an order in at Walmart, and they told us that they are out of chicken now, and they're out of milk, and that's why we came to Food Line to see what we could pick up.
Now, so far in Boone, we've seen a few flakes and flurries, but nothing compared to what's barreling our way later on tonight. If you haven't gone out shopping, you best do so quickly, or you could be left out in the cold. In Boone, I'm Ron Lee, WBTV, on your side.
Ron Lee reporting for us live from Boone. We know that you've heard this before, but it really is a great idea to download the WBTV weather app onto your phone so you get the latest information sent directly to you. Our Jason Myers is going to break down how you download it and how to use it.
I am WBTV meteorologist Jason Myers. With winter weather approaching this weekend, we want to make sure you're prepared and you can get the latest updates on the WBTV weather app. Here's how. Here on the WBTV weather page, just click on the top right under settings and make sure WBTV alerts and weather notification types are turned on. That way you can get the very latest updates with severe flooding or winter weather. Going back to the home page here, you can see the current temperatures as well as live radar, your hour-by-hour forecast, your 10-day forecast, and the latest forecast video. Even at the bottom of the page, there's a way to submit your photos. That is going to be important for us to know what's happening in your neighborhood, whether you're seeing snow or ice. We would love to have you submit your photos this weekend with the snow and ice moving in. Looking at radar, this is very important as well. You can see snowfall amounts, you can see radar as far as rain and precipitation type, and you can even see temperatures. Of course, temperatures will be very important across the area, and in your neighborhood, you can see what the temperatures are looking like. As we go back to the home page here, there's also first alert traffic, so you can even get traffic updates. Of course, traffic will be probably a big issue for anyone that may be traveling this weekend with that winter storm approaching. Again, this is the very latest way to stay up to date from the WBTV weather team.
All right, so Alicia Wilson is joining me now at the News Now desk. Wanted to check in with you once again because we know that the system is coming. People have a lot of questions about what to expect, not just in the Charlotte area, but across North Carolina. So can you give us the very latest once again, and then we'll take some of your questions here if you are joining us on Facebook.
Absolutely, yeah. If you're just joining us, I want to show this particular map again because this is all about the winter weather impacts. And, you know, we don't want to just focus on snow because a lot of us across the Charlotte metro area and even farther south into the South Carolina Piedmont, you're going to be seeing ice. So that's going to cause power outages. That's also just going to disrupt travel. So that's mainly what this map represents and just how it's just going to be disrupting your everyday life. You know, this is not something that you see often with these. We don't get these very often. So this is something to keep in mind as we go throughout the next 24 to 36 hours. Here's a look at the current watches and warnings across the area. We don't have any watches, we have warnings. So that means this is imminent. We're going to see the snow, we're going to see the sleet, we're going to see the freezing rain, and we're going to see the ice. So winter storm warning, that's in effect for all of the counties that you see shaded in the pink, and we have the ice storm warning in blue, and that purple, that's for the winter weather advisory. Current temperatures, they are above freezing for everyone, with the exception being Boone. They're at 28, so they're already below the freezing mark. We'll see these temperatures slowly starting to drop down below the freezing mark, especially tomorrow morning. You can see that on our future forecasts here of temperatures, how we're down into the upper 20s and lower 30s as early as 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. It'll be down to 30 in Charlotte. So whether it's rain, sleet, or snow that's falling, it's going to stick to the pavement and cause some treacherous travel conditions. That's definitely something to keep in mind, especially if you just have to be out on the roadways tomorrow. Current satellite and radar showing that storm system well out to our west across central Arkansas this time. It's kind of a two-sided storm system. Actually, it is. It's bringing snow on the backside of it, and out ahead of it, some moderate to heavy rainfall stretching all the way from Memphis down to the Florida Panhandle. So this is just going to be impacting a lot of people across the South and the Deep South. Doppler radar for us is pretty much all clear. There's been a couple of returns on the radar showing a couple of drops out there at times, especially a little bit farther towards the west, and even a few flakes flying that we saw earlier today. But the bulk of the precipitation is going to be coming in as we get into Sunday morning. So here we are this evening. Going into tonight, while you're sleeping, that's when we'll start to see the precipitation pushing in from the southwest, lifting towards the northeast. And by the time we get to about 3 a.m., 4 a.m., that's when we'll start to see that pushing into Charlotte, into our South Carolina counties as well. Chesterfield County, you'll be getting a mixed bag of precipitation. Farther north into the mountains, it looks like it's going to be all snow. So after sunrise tomorrow, it's going to be cold enough to support all snow in the mountains. Farther south, we're looking at that pink shading continuing. So that means you can see anything from snow, sleet, freezing rain, all mixing in. But as we start to warm and then the upper levels of the atmosphere start to get what we call a warm nose, or temperatures start to push in that are above freezing, that's when we'll start to see some of this changing over to rain, especially south and east of Charlotte. And even as we get into the latter half of the afternoon, we could potentially see some rain at times in the Charlotte area. It's going to fall as rain, but just like when you take an ice tray, if people still do that, fill it up with water and put it in the freezer, you'll start to see that rain freezing, or and you'll get ice. So it doesn't happen immediately. It takes some time. You open the freezer up. Is the ice? Has it been made yet, Maddie? Do you do that? I don't know.
The last time I used an ice tray was in college.
Okay.
When our freezer in our college house did not have an ice maker.
Okay.
So, but I know what you're talking about, and
you
it's
get
a
it,
really
yeah.
good explanation.
Yeah. So it's gonna take some time. It's not like the rain falls and it's like boom, you've got ice, but you're going to see ice, especially when the temperatures are below 32 degrees, especially when they start to dip down to the upper 20s. But this all gets out of here early Monday morning, and anything that's out there, especially in the morning on Monday, it's going to be sticking around, especially for the mountains. Charlotte, farther south, we'll start to see some melting as temperatures are going to be climbing into the upper 30s and lower 40s. So that's when we'll start to see things improving. But still the potential for some of that cold air to just wring out that available moisture in the mountains off and on throughout the day on Monday. But here's what we're thinking right now. We're thinking that the freezing rain, sleet is going to be cutting into those overall snow and sleet totals, especially once you get out of the mountains and the foothills. So if you want to play in snow, Jason and I were talking about this earlier, if you want to have that sled and you want to have some fun, mountains, foothills. Charlotte metro area, hey, that's where it's just going to be a mixed bag. You can start out with snow, but then you're overall dealing with ice, and that's a big concern for us because 1/4 of an inch of ice, that just turns it into no fun, right?
Right. And if this were falling as all snow, we would see some pretty impressive totals.
Oh yeah, we'd probably be setting some records around here, but we're not expecting that. We're expecting to see some major icing across a lot of areas that we cover over our 22 counties. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, especially for tomorrow morning and even in the afternoon hours. You got to remember this is going to be a long duration event, and you're going to see those temperatures bouncing back and forth, especially in the afternoon as we start to get some slight warming, not so much in the mountains, but especially across the Charlotte metro area. And again, winds are going to be getting gusty, anywhere from about 25 to 35 miles per hour at times, and peak wind gusts could, in some spots like Chesterfield, get upwards of about 41 miles per hour. So we've seen that as well, but improving conditions, especially for Monday and Tuesday, especially in the afternoon on Monday. High temperatures you see really don't make it out of the 30s, and that's going to be early on in the day for most of us. But there you have it, 7-day forecast. If you're interested past tomorrow, the MLK holiday, we're into the 40s. That's for the Charlotte metro area. And of course, the South Carolina Piedmont, the mountains, you're not going to make it above the freezing mark. And Tuesday and Wednesday are actually looking pretty good. There's a slight chance for a few showers on Wednesday, and we're tracking the chance for potentially some more wintry weather Thursday night into Friday, but we won't talk about that right now.
Yes, we're going to focus on what is happening tonight and tomorrow. And people are commenting here on Facebook. Emily's reminding people to move your cars away from trees if you can, because
that's a good
the
idea.
Ice on the branches can certainly bring those down. Someone else says check on the elderly, check on your pets, bring them inside. If you have pets, definitely good advice there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, check on your pets. We always say pets and people, and even some sensitive plants that you may have brought out when we were in the 70s or the 60s a couple of weeks ago, right? Because, we've had some weather extremes here. This is going to be a shock to the system to a lot of people, right?
Absolutely. And again, we know that it is nearing 9 o'clock here, but if you can make those last minute preparations, whether it's just having a plan in place if the power goes out, that's probably a good idea, because we know ice tends to make a mess of things.
Absolutely.
So we should all be prepared to wake up tomorrow with something.
Something. And then just depending on where you are, it may be a couple of miles. Maybe you have a friend that lives 10 miles away. They're getting snow and you're like, well, I'm getting sleet and freezing rain at my house. It's going to be that much of a difference and a close call.
I have the Boone Resort camera pulled up here. This is King Street in Boone. Nothing yet. But I think when we pull this up in a few hours, it's going to look different. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Definitely tomorrow morning. It's going to be like a winter wonderland up there, and especially around this time tomorrow night. So just keep this snapshot of this picture in your head now, and let's revisit it later on.
We'll have to see if we can get a time lapse of that. The only snowflakes we're seeing now are the ones that are decorative on the street lights there. Not the case going into tomorrow morning. Alicia, thank you so much, and thank you guys for joining us as well. We are here all night. We are going to keep you updated on what's going on. Our First Alert Weather team, you guys are working hard.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate it.
Yeah, get prepared. That's the main message, and if you're not, you still have time.
You still have time. Be safe, everyone. And remember, you can download the WBTV weather app for the latest updates, or go to our website, WBTV.com. You can also stream our content right here wherever you are streaming WBTV News Now. Stay safe, stay warm, and take care.